human around here. There's lots of different interests. We have 220 people in the Republican conference, and they have a lot of different ideas. They represent a lot of different districts, and sometimes when the pressure gets turned up, people need to release that. So that's what I do. I allow them to do that. We take thoughtful discussion and deliberation. Sometimes we do it out in open. Sometimes we do it in closed meetings. But we had that until late last night. I did more of it this morning. I want to compliment our president, President Trump, who is always engaged with us and available and accessible. He didn't have to call a single member to wrangle anybody on this thing. He allowed me the space to do what I need to do, and we got the votes together, and we reaffirmed our commitments. It's real. We want to find real savings. We have an obligation to do that, but we also have to protect these essential programs. We can and will do both, and you're going to see that in the next few weeks.
How do you ensure that this tug of war with hardliners doesn't derail the process in the next coming months?
Look, everyone that you would describe as a hardliner, I mean, people who were in the room last night, are there in good faith. I mean, these are my closest friends, colleagues. I mean, all of us. We're one big team, and their intention is good. They're in good faith. They want to make sure, because they believe we have a responsibility, as I do, to make sure that the national debt and our deficits that we've been running around here for too long are turned back on a different trajectory. And I use the analogy all the time. We have it's effectively like a giant aircraft carrier, and you don't turn an aircraft carrier on a dime. It takes miles of open ocean. But we have a responsibility, and we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with this reconciliation measure before us to make a real turn in that aircraft carrier. And we're very serious about it. And so the colleagues that were in the conversations up to past midnight last night just wanted assurances that we're really, really going to do that, and we are, but we're going to do it in a way that doesn't unduly affect or harm any beneficiary of a public program that's available to them. So you'll see how that works out.
Yeah, can you give some areas of spending cuts you're looking at? Because you said you've been working on this for a while, so you must know where you're going to cut.
Yeah, we have big menus of options and items in 11 different committees of jurisdiction, and one of the big ones is energy and commerce, because they have such a broad jurisdiction, and that's where you'll be looking at, Medicaid, for example, which is the thing that the Democrats are trying to, frankly, lie to the American people about. No one has talked about cutting one benefit in Medicaid to anyone who's duly owed. What we've talked about is returning work requirements. So, for example, you don't have able-bodied young men on a program that's designed for single mothers and the elderly and disabled. They're draining resources from people who are actually do that. So if you clean that up and shore it up, you save a lot of money, and you return the dignity of work to young men who need to be out working instead of playing video games all day. We have a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicaid. Just one tiny example. The estimate is $51 billion a year in Medicaid is lost to fraud. That's unconscionable. We now have, with the DOGE efforts and with new algorithms and with new oversight responsibilities and opportunities, we have ability to carve that out. We have a responsibility to do it. That estimate by some people, some estimates say that is very low. It's actually much higher than that. So we're going to go through, carve out, find these savings, low-hanging fruit, and examples like that. There's a lot of it in the federal government. I mean, look, we have a $36 trillion federal debt right now. We're running deficits every year. It's not the way to run our country. We need to return to fiscal sanity, and that's what the Republican Party represents. And you know what? That's good for every American.
But sir, the instructions are $800 billion for these committees. Mm-hmm. Are you saying there is $800 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse?
I'm saying that the categories of fraud, waste, and abuse, in addition to the other areas that we've been looking at for almost a year now, that we can find well more than $800 billion in savings, and we will. And that's what we committed to. That's what.
Because the markets are down 1,300 points, and you talked about sending them a strong signal that Congress is doing its work. I mean, obviously, we saw the president put the pause on his tariffs. Does he need to just end them, scrap them at this point?
No, I'm going to let
give the markets more certainty.
I'm delighted to let the president make the decisions on that. I mean, he and I spoke yesterday about the spike in the stock market after the pause, and I think he recognized the moment was right to do it, and that seems to be a great decision. So we're going to let him do that. I'm going to do my job over here, but I do hope and believe that the vote today is a very strong signal to the markets, to investors, job creators, entrepreneurs, the people that make the economy run, that the Congress is going to get us on sound footing. And you can count on that, and you can bet on it, and you ought to, I think today would be a great day to buy stocks.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.